Every step, every delay, every decision, you're carrying something. But what if it's time to let go? What if purpose isn't found, but formed? With every step you take forward.
Assalamu alaikum, ya doctor.
Wa alaikum assalam. Long time no see.
Yes. Dr. Mahan and I were recording some other podcast material earlier today at the American Islamic College, and so we we haven't yet tired of each other, and that may be one of the miracles of Ramadan.
Well, I think you're hard to tire of. It's a miracle that you have not tired, and we keep going. But I think it only gets. This is one of those things that the heart only grows fonder, not with absence. You know, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder, but in this case, it's been the opposite. So,
this everyone should know that this Ramadan Unscripted is the brainchild of Mahan, and it came up in a meeting one afternoon when he looked at us and he said, I have a crazy idea. And so he said, what if every night of Ramadan we just do an unscripted exploration of the Quran and we'll call it something unscripted, because it's about Ramadan is about scripture. So this incredible, this is what a gift to me. This incredible process and project is really thanks to your crazy idea, Dr. Mahan. So thank you for that. May God
sure. It was a good brainstorming session, and it's not just one idea, but it's a group that nurtures it, and there's receptivity. So I'm just grateful that we had an environment where we could launch such thought experiments and have them land somewhere, and actually have the capacity to pull it off. So it's been great being with you. Yeah, alhamdulillah, and being with so much of our audience. And we'll be getting comments now from different parts of the world, which is really nice to see. There were some comments yesterday on An-Naml, and one by an audience member who was very close to us, and happened to be in the room, who had an insight after we were done. He didn't say anything when we were speaking, but do you want to share that insight?
Yeah, no, it was this is from a Pakistani sage who was listening to us, and his remark was that in Surah An-Naml, that is the surah of the ants. And remember, last night we were talking about how the ants were worried, speaking to each other, and worried about the army of Suleiman, the army of Solomon coming, and that they might trample the ants or might injure the ants. And so the ants were saying, let's get, we have to hide in our tunnels. And Solomon, of course, heard them and understood their language and smiled, and he didn't really speak back to the ants, but he noticed them, and he smiled and benevolently then immediately launched into a prayer. But it was a beautiful moment where the benevolence of Suleiman, the benevolence of Solomon was there, but also the recognition of something so small in the creation being viewed with appreciation and with esteem and with full attention, meaning that no matter how small things are in the creation, that everything is significant and everything is precious and everything is valuable and worth attending to. Is that a fair reflection of the comment?
Yeah. And the idea that, here's Solomon with his army, and here come the ants with their army, and each has their own mission and their own task, and it's all important at their own scale. And it was just a marveling at God's, creation, that every individual and every community in the hierarchy of creation, if we can say that, has its own charge.
Yeah.
And so that was just a lovely. I thought that was a lovely insight.
It was, and we promised him that we would begin tonight with that, because it was something that neither one of us had really thought of, but it was beautiful.
The mission and vision of the American Islamic College, to me, pretty much now synonymous with the work. I believe in the transformative power of education, and not just education that is informative, but in education that is transformative, education that really changes how we live. But I think that the Muslims of America need a place that they can come as a Muslim space. This is their space. It belongs to them.
Mahan, you mentioned earlier today that you hate hearing your own voice. I also cringe at the sound of my own voice, but I raise my voice when I feel like something needs to be said. And one thing that I think needs to be said in response to that short video is that, the American College belongs to everyone who's with us on these evenings. The American Islamic College higher education is an incredibly expensive and incredibly difficult project to embark upon. Right now in the United States, colleges are closing with incredible rapidity. I read an article several months ago that was clocking it at one college closing per week because of the decimation of what the pandemic did to college enrollments, and there are all kinds of reasons why colleges are failing across the country, and we're growing one. We're growing a college. There are only 2 independent, fully accredited Muslim institutions of higher education in North America, and we have the privilege of working for and with one of them, and so I've always prayed that this dream of the American Islamic College, this dream of an institution that would seek to serve the entirety of the Muslim mosaic and all of its diversity, and serve the nation and the world as a place where people can come from different situations and different locations and learn from one another and grow together in full dignity and in full respect, and also the society as a whole, that this would be a place where people of all faiths and backgrounds would be welcome. And indeed, that is woven into the very language of our mission and vision, that we welcome students of all faiths and backgrounds. And so this institution is really very special. I've never seen another institution quite like it. And it's because of the college that we're able to do this program. It's because of the college that we're able to not just run this program, but to host and design programs, lectures, all kinds of things that are for the benefit of the entire society, not just for the people within the 4 walls of a classroom. And now, because of the internet and because of technology, we now have the ability to offer fully accredited courses and learning opportunities to people worldwide. And so now we have friends in Malaysia and in Pakistan and in so many different countries, in Turkey, and so many different countries that are able to tune in and to benefit from our programs. And my hope and prayer has always been that the dream will continue to grow, not as my dream or as your dream, but as our collective dream. And as we join the dream, we're adding our own unique ideas and our own unique insights and energies, and certainly, just as is evidence tonight, right? This was your beautiful idea, Mahan. It was your crazy idea, and then it just required a crazy companion who was willing to join you on this journey. And so I was like, I'll go, and here we are, right on the 21st night of the blessed month of Ramadan. And so I would just ask people to, think seriously this Ramadan about supporting the college in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be monetary, but of course, we need resources, of course, to function and to keep the dream growing. And so I would just ask everyone who's with us tonight and who joins us in their own time. I would just ask everyone to dream with us and to about what does the world need from a university today? What does the world need from an institution of higher education? And what can that look like? And if you have ideas, we are excited and eager to meet with you, to hear from you, and to work with you to bring those ideas that will bring benefit, ideas that will bring healing, ideas that will bring light in darkness, ideas that will bring new hope and new trajectories as we, as a human family, are facing some of the most daunting challenges, some of the most heart quaking challenges that our human family has ever faced. And so we're here to face those together, God willing, with knowledge, with wisdom, and with faith. So please consider supporting the American Islamic College, and thanks again for being with us.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. You articulated a very inspiring vision. And I think with that, we can just jump into our...
Yeah, let's do it.
We're in Al-Qasas.
Which is the 28th surah.
The 28th surah.
Yes.
And we just pick a few nuggets here so we can keep advancing. And we're going to just go with a couple of verses from 56, in the middle, 56 and 57, where, the Prophet, now you can imagine, this is not a great analogy, but since, maybe it'll work, since we just started with, and we haven't done this on any night, really, a kind of a pitch for support for the college. Occasionally you've seen that little banner. And there are lots of worthy causes out there. Everyone is, especially in this season, putting themselves forward and seeking support. But ultimately, the greatest cause, the cause in history, was the cause of the prophets. And they would come down with revelation, and they would approach the people, and they would try and convey God's words. And more often than not, and we saw that there never was a prophet sent that the people rejected. They pushed back. And you can imagine the anguish that would cause the prophet, who's first and foremost a true believer, the truest of believers. And this is why, ana awwalul muslimin, it said, the prophet said, I'm the first to truly believe. Amana Rasul, the prophet believed. And so when the prophet's own loved ones would reject the message, or people around him, or even strangers, I can't imagine the anguish, because he knows what they're rejecting and what the ultimate consequences could be. And so here in this verse, it's being said, you prophet cannot guide everyone you love to the truth.
Yeah.
It's not about who you love. And you don't have their hearts in your hand.
Yeah.
In your hands. It's the heart kind of moves between the
the fingers of the Rahman, as we say.
The fingers of the most,
one of the names of God in Arabic, one of the ways that the Prophet, upon him be peace, referred to God as Muqallib al-Qulub, the turner.
Right. The turner of the heart. And we already saw the verse that God comes between a man and his heart.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it is God who guides whoever he will. And from a certain point of view, there's this helplessness, like, I've been charged with this mission and I want to see the results, but then there's this great release that the prophets only have to convey. Yeah. But what people do with it is not his responsibility, and so don't take that burden. You have to leave things to God ultimately. And that's a profound message here, just directly being articulated. You can't guide everyone that you love to the truth. It is God who guides whoever he will. He knows best those who follow guidance. Yeah. And then they say, if we were to follow guidance with you, prophet, we would be swept from our land.
Yeah.
Because they were, his immediate audience in Mecca was in this sanctuary, a place that was protected. Have we not established for them a secure sanctuary where every kind of produce is brought? You know, the pilgrims would come. There were trade. It was a merchant city, and all kinds of prosperity would pass through that sanctuary that was built by Abraham, and according to our tradition, with his son. And so it's brought as a provision from us. But most of them do not comprehend. We've destroyed many a community that once reveled in its wanton wealth and easy living. Since then, their dwelling places have barely been inhabited. We are the only heir. And so don't think that this stuff is permanent, right? Your Lord would never destroy towns without first raising a messenger in their midst. And so the messenger has come, the warner has come, but ultimately don't think that you can be the guardians of your own prosperity. This comes from God, and he takes it away. And this kind of brings us to the Qarun. I think it connects to the story of Qarun.
It does, but before we go there, you had mentioned earlier today, you had mentioned another reading of this, and that is the idea that being taken from our place of security, that to say yes to Islam in that early Meccan period meant that you were going to receive very powerful opposition from your loved ones, from your family, from your relatives, possibly even violence. And so saying yes to God's call in that environment meant you were going to pay a price, and that you were going to give up that sense of security. So do you want to just speak a little bit about that? Like if we think of sanctuary here now in psychological and spiritual terms, like how you also read this verse.
Yeah, and actually I was echoing, I just been reading from the study Quran, and it says there, at a spiritual level, this verse can refer to those who offer various kinds of excuses to themselves or others as to why they have not or cannot embark on the spiritual life, or why they cannot give up such and such in their attachment to the world. Because were they to do so, even though they know that is something they must do if they were to pursue the truth, it would have consequences, that they would have to give up a place of comfort in which they find themselves in the present moment, and they're not willing to give that up. And this is a warning, I think, to that kind of a
way of thinking.
Of thinking. And we will see in the surahs that are coming up, we've already seen before that, you know, what's centered here is a trial, that you're being summoned and there will be consequences, and you have to decide where your allegiances are. Is it with your own kind of wealth and your lifestyle and a sense of security that you think you have, which is from God anyways, but you think you've kind of got it? Or is it with God? And then you will accept the consequences of that allegiance, but also with a complete trust that it all is from God and comes from God anyways. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Qarun.
Okay, let's do it.
So Qarun, to my knowledge, was not a figure I ever knew biblically. So Qarun is a uniquely mentioned in the Quran. So this is a really interesting, and again, it's a teaching story. Like so many of the stories in the Quran, it's kind of just a flash. It's kind of just a reference to a story that the people might already be somewhat familiar with, but it's a story that is designed to teach us something, teach us a lesson. So let's look at the Qaruns. Are you at 76 then?
I'm at 76.
Okay, good.
So Qarun, maybe we just kind of read the story and then reflect on it. Qarun, this is verse 76, was one of Moses' people, but he oppressed them. we had given him such treasures that even their keys would have weighed down a whole company of strong men. His people said to him, "Do not gloat, for God does not like people who gloat. Seek the life to come by means of what God has granted you, but do not neglect your rightful share in this world. Do good to others as God has done good to you. Do not seek to spread corruption in the land, for God does not love those who do this." But he answered, people said this to him, and he answered, "This wealth was given to me on account of the knowledge I possess."
Yeah.
قال إنما أوتيته على علم عندي.
Yeah.
This is my knowledge which I have. Did he not know that God had destroyed many generations before him? So this is now being warned. Who had greater power than him and built up greater wealth. The guilty will not be questioned about their sins. He went out among his people in all his pomp, and those whose aim was the life of this world said, "If only we had been given something like what Qarun has been given."
Yeah.
But this is only those whose aim was the life of this world. He really is a very fortunate man. But those who were given knowledge said, "Alas for you, God's reward is better for those who believe and do good deeds. Only those who are steadfast will attain this." Then we caused the earth to swallow him and his house. And he had not the least little party to help him against God, nor could he defend himself. And the next day, those who had the day before wished to be in his place exclaimed, "Alas for you, Qarun! It is God alone who gives what he will, abundantly or sparingly, to whichever he will of his creatures. If God had not been gracious to us, he would have caused the earth to swallow us too. Alas, indeed, those who deny the truth will never prosper." So that's the story of Qarun. Go ahead.
And this is a longer and more narrative way of saying something that we're seeing repeated often in these short Meccan chapters, and that is the superiority of the hereafter over this world. And we see this. This is very graphically done here, but it's we see this repeated again and again in these Meccan surahs, that we should not be delusioned, right? We should not be deluded by our love of this world, the glitter of this world, and we should look to the things that are truly valuable and truly meaningful. And for those who refuse to be deluded and who hold fast to who are generous and who are believing and who are righteous, that what's waiting for them is far superior to anything that this world can offer. This is a message which is going to come again and again and again in these Meccan verses that we've been looking at.
Yeah. And the two things that stand out to me, one is, this is knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. It's such a contrast to what we just read with the Ibadur Rahman, the servants of the Most Merciful.
Yes.
Whose first quality in a litany of qualities is those who walk on the earth humbly. And he is walking as if, he's not accountable, and somehow he's accomplished this, independently. And this whole idea of, independence, like I can do things on my own. It's such a farce. But that is, being challenged here. First of all, he can't even, control the rhythm of his own heart, really. I mean,
Yeah.
let alone, the storehouses that he's been entrusted with. But then, so that's one, thing that strikes out at me. And we see this all the time, like you said, with people who feel like they're at the top of their game in terms of wealth and power and think they're invincible. But it's not going to last. We know that. So they need to remember that. And secondly, just the manner of his demise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and this is an actual phenomenon. There are sinkholes. The earth seems stable, but underneath it's molten. There are tectonic plates, and at any moment it can actually open and swallow you. And this happens. It happens every day today, and now we can actually see it when people post it on social media and Twitter. You can see like sinkholes that open up. It's not very common, but it's common enough that it can be captured by people on camera, and it's quite frightening. And I've actually begun, when I read something like this, like I actually feel like, I'm in this house, but at any moment, what guarantee do I have that it's not that I'm gonna still be here? There is none. And so you suddenly begin to be thankful at every moment for something other than yourself, which is quite a profound kind of alteration of state of mind that something like this offers.
Yeah, and the the other feature here is all the people who are so enamored, so impressed by him, like they want to be they want to be him. They want that. They want the fame. They want the arrogance. They want he's
Right.
he's like what we would people today who claim to be like a self-made millionaire. I'm a self-made man. I'm like, he's got that swank and swagger and and people are just wanting to be him in a way and just emulating him, and it's almost a form of like idolizing. People are just idolizing people for no reason other than the fact that that God, for reasons unknown to us, has decided to to give him this ample or abundant provision, and that we're so easily deluded by that. And somehow we think that people who have wealth somehow have more value, more wisdom, more, their voice counts more. Their and all of that just vanishes in that moment when he's swallowed up by the earth, and then it's almost as if a spell has been broken, and people see, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't have idolized him. But I think in this world of wealthy celebrities and this world of kinds of idols, I think that this is a very contemporary kind of story for us. We don't need to put any names on Qarun, any contemporaries, but I think we can all think of any who are
In a city shaped by water and wind, answers arrive like waves, quiet at first, then undeniable. When one finds you, move with it, stay steady, and let it carry you farther than you planned.